Game and compute. What is up, guys? What is up? What's going on? Hopefully I can be heard okay. At the moment, I'm in North County in San Diego, Escondido. My friend's got a wedding going on in Fallbrook Sunday, tomorrow. I might have some plans this evening, just some kickback, catch up, nothing too major. And otherwise, wedding tomorrow night. I don't have to be there till 5:30 for the champagne toast, and then the wedding starts, I think, around 6:30, and then we go from there. We go from 6:30 to basically night. I mean, there's gonna be a reception and everything too. So yeah, it's been a while. I haven't recorded apparently or posted since April 14th. So a lot of it has been going on since then, and I will put that into explanation. But today, I do want to talk about Spotify for podcasters, changes to Spotify, analytics. I don't really know a lot of details about analytics lately because, as you know, at the moment it's May 25th. I'll see with this very slow hotel Wi-Fi if I'm able to even upload. But my plan is to hopefully upload today, this Saturday. I'll see if it's possible. I'm trying not to pay for Google Fi just to be able to upload. If I have to, I'll wait till I get home Monday or try a different time of day. But the Wi-Fi here is slow, but that's pretty common for hotels. Usually hotels have really slow Wi-Fi. It was a little bit decent last night, and it's not as bad as some hotels. Things do load. I can watch YouTube on my phone. I was able to kind of create my login and all this other stuff I had to do for Spotify for podcasters. Like, it's just slow. It's not just like you click and things happen. Like, it actually has to load. Emails have to load. You actually see the load bar. And even though my household Wi-Fi isn't that great, usually you don't even see like the load bars and stuff. So that's weird. But I mean, it's also to be expected. Like, it's pretty normal. So some changes I've been dealing with. Yeah, I'm going to talk about those first, but I'll just tell you what we're going to talk about is the changes to Spotify for podcasters, kind of what that looks like. I don't know if I've really dug into the analytics to really notice much. I've maybe briefly breezed over some stuff, and I want to get back into that, but analytics are another change, as well as ads, and then the use of this software called Riverside. The little logo looks like a sine wave or something. But where have I been since April 14th? I started a new job, so a lot of my creativity has been a bit limited as far as time to post. So April 29th, I started a new job. That was my hire date. I think somewhere near April 14th was when I had interviewed. Let me see. It was on like a Monday, maybe. It is so long ago. It's over a month, guys. This might have been the longest. So yeah, I think my interview was maybe on the 15th of April. And then since then, I haven't really recorded anything. Not really posted anyways. Cause I've been, I didn't really have much to say. in those, like from mid-April on through the end of April, I didn't know what my start date was going to be, but they pretty much hired me the same day as the interview. I believe, I don't know if I'm right on it. I think it was still maybe Ramadan during that time. I think that week of April, don't quote me on this, but I think the week of April 14th, I was kind of, experimenting with Ramadan, maybe, like learning about it and everything. I don't really know. But I feel like I had an interview one of the Sundays, like when I was studying about Ramadan. And whenever that eclipse was, I think that was maybe like a Friday of that week or something. I can't remember. I could just Google it, but that's kind of what my memory is telling me, and my memory usually is not that great. So I went a couple weeks without really posting anything. And I think I had other interviews, but I don't fully remember if I kept them. I don't recall keeping any other interviews, but I do remember being a little like, okay, this is the end of an era, and having to kind of shift my schedules around and realizing a lot of stuff is going to change. And there was a bit of scheduling to this onboarding process. I think I was coordinating with the recruiter for a while, and I had some appointments with doctors that I had to kind of move around, and I had a family friends event that I kind of wanted to go to, but I had a little, I don't really want to call it a health hiccup. It was just maybe like a side effect of something that I was dealing with kind of around that time, like sometime between the 5th, like maybe the 15th of April and maybe like the 21st or something like that, and then coming into April 29th. But things are fine now for the most part. Just it was a weird couple weeks, and then coming into the month of May, I had just started that job, so it's out of the valley in LA. That's where the main office is at. There's an office not far from me in my part of LA. It's not right near me, but probably like 20-30 minutes away. I don't know how far. I haven't driven to it, but it's in an area called Linwood. I don't know how far that is from me. So there's that office, and then I've gone to the main office twice. So I think April 29th I went, and then no, that was my start date. I think May 8th or something I went in person. No, maybe it was April 29th. Maybe it was April. I've been there through have I been there 2 or 3 times? The first day I went in, I met someone else who I think he only unfortunately was there for a couple days, and I think it was like the 8th or so, because they said we only go in once a month. So I think it was like April 29th we went in, then April 8th we went in, but we just went back in the other day for like a meeting. So I don't remember if I went that many times. I only remember going like twice. But maybe there was a third time. I really don't remember. So I kind of just you know started that job. So if you're curious to know what the job is, I'm landing back where it came from, not really in the tech world, but back into health. This time it's not fully mental health. That kind of got me a foot in the door. My experience with social work and case management and therapy and that kind of stuff got my foot in the door. But this is more of a job where we follow up mostly remotely with people who just got discharged from the hospitals. Not necessarily psychiatric, it's mostly physical health. There's usually going to be a psychiatric component, when people have pain levels and health levels or whatever it is that leads people to maybe not keep to their diet or not keep to the eating and exercising and stuff. I'm not blaming people. I'm not a blame the victim type of person, but some things are dietary, like diabetes and stuff like that. You can potentially adjust some things with diet and exercise. And it's just maybe my own personal opinion. It might be controversial, but I do think it's hard for people, myself included, to watch. It's hard for me to watch what I eat when my mood is not the best. And so I could see that if I wasn't going to follow what the doctor said, because I am routinely connected with my doctors, which I wasn't for like years before, but now I have been lately. I've made a habit out of it. And, I'm getting my lab results pretty regularly, and they're telling me how things are improving. It kind of keeps me motivated to improve a little bit. But I did notice, like with my stress levels and insomnia issues and, I had some iron deficiency issues leading to a lot of brain fog, a lot of, just issues with maybe blood sugar levels, or maybe it was iron levels or other levels of things that were connected to like eating, not eating on time, getting a little hangry. I would be like, why am I so irritable? And it was, I maybe too late kind of realized, maybe I need to snack here and there, don't overlook those snacks. But so it's full-time. It's actually 42 and a half hours a week. Checking in with patients who come out from the hospital. We're enrolling them. We're cold calling them. We're helping them with services, mostly remotely. And now they're also pushing home visits. I don't know how many I need to do per week, but it sounds like about one a week at least, or getting out in the community. They did mention maybe 5 times. I need to I don't know. I don't want to get into all the little details of this job, but that's primarily what it is. We get a list every day. I get a portion of that list, somewhere between 3 to 8 people. I think it's going to be up to 8 people, but about 3, 4, 5 people, 6 people are given to me to call every day who were newly discharged to home, and I need to call those people and see if I can enroll them in our services. And then I follow up with those people from 30 days from the time that they were admitted to the hospital. It could be anything, like if they need a placard for the DMV, or if they need I don't know, like a food bank, or transportation, like through Access, if they need to apply to that. We can kind of step in and kind of help people out with all these types of things and enroll them, and help them for a little under 30 days, with the goal that they are at less risk of going back to the hospital or having to get into the ER. We don't tell them don't call 911 or don't go to the ER. We don't even mention that, but it does cost the insurance a lot, I believe, when people use the ER. And they kind of flag people who have been high utilizers of the ER. And, just making sure people can keep their appointments and follow up with their doctors and get connected to specialists, and that the specialists are following up and keeping appointments, and symptoms are kind of at least getting looked at, and there's some kind of plan in place. We kind of follow up with all that discharge planning. You can probably tell by my voice, I'm not, I try to be positive about it, but I'm not the most excited about this job. My goal is to keep it until I've saved a certain amount of money. I've estimated the date would be about Halloween of 2024, when I should have that amount of money saved, and then reevaluate from there. But it's not the field I was looking for, but these people do acknowledge that, I have been studying in tech-related things, and that is the direction where I want to go. They did mention to me that the IT department, they can transition people into IT. They did mention that that's an option. So working, I did a lot of onboarding training. The training is it's not that easy, just because it's basically I'm being monitored often, and I don't really like that experience, to be honest. If I'm fully honest, I don't really like that. I don't like being monitored. Basically how they do it remotely is they have to share the screen, or I have to share my screen of what I'm doing at work, and keep my mic on, and they can hear and see what I'm doing. And I don't know, it makes me a bit nervous. I feel like I don't really like that feeling of someone looking over my shoulder all the time, and it's just kind of stressful for me, honestly. But it also kind of just is what it is, Life isn't going to be like that forever. They've hired some new people. They're onboarding, and I think they've got 6 more interviews this week. They're hiring like crazy right now, and so I don't think they really have time. They've had less and less time to really be like on my tail this last week. We barely checked in a little bit this last week, but we talked like twice, maybe briefly, and then checked in yesterday, I think. But yeah, they have me share my screen, and it's just really annoying. And then they kind of like watch me work and listen to me work, and for hours on end. I mean, it was happening. There were some days where I was just online all day with like the supervisor and director, and there were a couple days where they were training me. And I was, I don't know, they didn't give me the PowerPoints, so I noticed I'm gonna have to take screenshots. I'm gonna have to take screenshots, as well as audio record a little bit, so that I can go back and review and learn it faster, because I don't really learn by people saying, okay, share your screen, and then telling me what to click. And then it's like, it doesn't really stick in my head like that. Like, they tell me what to click, and click here, and like, oh no, go back, that was the wrong one, click there. And it's like, trying to do that all day for a couple days. It was a bit nerve-wracking, but I don't know, like, it's kind of decreased. I don't want to speak too soon, but it's kind of sort of decreased from that. They're not so like intently following me like that anymore, but they might starting Tuesday, because I asked a question on Friday afternoon that they were like, oh no, we thought you knew this. And I was kind of like, oh, like, I probably just shouldn't have asked. But whatever. Let's see if they even remember. I gotta get my charger here. 1 second. I'm kind of gonna unplug my phone. Charge that over here. And I need my laptop charger. I'm using my laptop uncharged. Unplugged in right now, so I gotta plug it in. Because I think the battery says 18 minutes. Alright. Are we charging? We're charging. Alright. Sorry guys, we're charging again. So, yeah, that's... did I have any more notes about this job? I would say... So I think I mentioned the hours are 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. That's not sustainable for me. We don't get a paid lunch. So that extra 30 minutes of the day is like, it makes it so I'm working 42 and a half hours starting at 8:30 in the morning. So I haven't been podcasting here. I've been podcasting slightly elsewhere a little bit, but because the podcasting has changed, which is what we're going to talk about with Spotify for podcasters, things have changed somewhat. So it kind of did set me back for at least a week or maybe 2 weeks. I think this week I put in a couple recordings. I think last week I put in some recordings. Last weekend I went to New Orleans for my sister's graduation, and this weekend I'm in San Diego. So last weekend I didn't really care to record at all, but because I knew it's harder now to do it on the phone basically. But yeah, I guess the last things to say about this job, I'm still trying to cook meals and get to the gym, exercise, things like that. Be able to unwind near 7:45 p.m. or so. Kind of get a little off the screens, or if I am, just maybe listening to some learning material, lectures, podcasts, that kind of stuff. Not really watching anything, just stuff I can maybe listen to. And then 9 p.m., a little after 9 p.m. is like I start my routine to kind of get to the lights out part of the night and then kind of start unwinding. I usually take some melatonin around 9 p.m. and then just kind of relax, and go to sleep. And I don't really worry past that, but that's kind of what it looks like for me, trying to podcast in the mornings. But I have noticed, unless I'm podcasting in the morning, it's kind of hard for me to be super motivated to wake up early. I'm mostly starting from home, so that's good. I don't know what it's going to be like once I start getting out in the community, because the way this job works, there's a lot of calling of the list of new people. You don't know who's going to enroll, and then everybody else who's on the list that hasn't declined or hasn't been disqualified for some reason, like going into a longer term facility or back into the hospital or whatever it may be. Any of those people, we basically have to call them twice a week. So we're basically just on the phone a whole lot. And then there's people that have enrolled that have these follow-up dates. They have between 2 and 3 follow-up dates within the 30 days. So depending how many people are enrolled, we have to follow up with those people as well. And now they want to add home visits, which I don't see the purpose, because you're not doing that many home visits with that many people. You're kind of just picking the people who need to meet at home, I guess. And I guess you're meeting them once. I don't know how often you're meeting these people, but there's not a lot of time to really develop a lot of deep rapport. It's like a quick rapport, but, we're not working with these patients for like years. It's like less than 30 days, because we start counting the 30 days from the time that they were admitted to the hospital, and we don't get access to contacting them till they get out of the hospital. And so it's 30 days from when they got in. And so, depending when they answer, they might not even have that much time for us to really check in with them. I'm still talking to some people whose dates were like early May, like say May 8th or something like that. Within like a couple weeks, I'm going to have to, they're going to discharge from our services. And so we're going to close them out. So basically, I don't really know what I think about it. It's a paycheck. They pay weekly. My deductions are really ridiculous. I don't have healthcare insurance or retirement through this job yet. I think you have to be working 6 months to qualify for their retirement savings plan, and get the what do you call it? The percentage matching. I don't think their matching is very good. The PTO rate is bad, in my opinion. I don't get my first 8 hours accrued until 600 hours of work, which I calculated is like mid-August. And then every 300 hours of work accrues 8 hours. So I calculated in October I can also get 1 day off, and by December I'll have a third day off. So, and we get holidays and weekends and stuff, but so this is a 3-day weekend and we're off Memorial Day. But I basically realized that I have I don't know. This job is partly what I was looking for. It pays more than my other one did. A little bit, barely, but a little bit. If I consider that I'm not driving to San Diego once a month, and most of the driving does get a partial mileage reimbursement. But we also get a lot deducted. I get a lot deducted per paycheck, and I'm getting paid every Thursday direct deposit. So, with state, let me see what's deducted. I took a little screenshot of it the other day. Oh, by the way, my first time using Turo to rent a car. So I'm using a Turo car rental. Where'd that picture go? It was a screenshot, I guess. It was a screenshot. So, let's see. I'm not going to say what the numbers are, but basically my deductions are federal income tax, Social Security tax, Medicare tax, California state income tax, California SDI tax. So I got 5 taxes coming out, which results in a big chunk of my money going missing. And yeah, we only get paid 40 hours a week, even though we're online or longer, because like I said, our lunches aren't paid. It's a 30-minute lunch that we have to take that's not paid. So that's why instead of working 9 to 5, it's 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. So that makes it, again, so it's a little bit worse hours, just a little bit. That 30 minutes adds up every day, because that means I'm starting to log in by 8:20, which means I have to be up before 8. I set my alarm for 7:45. I need to already be like, if it's a small breakfast, I need to be in progress of like making that small breakfast by 7:45 a.m. And I can still wake up around 5. I do pretty often, actually. So that's not really the issue. It's just getting up. I've been drinking these C4 Smart Energy drinks. I like them better than the C4. They have this mixture from Japan. I think it's a Japan trademarked supplement or something called Cognizant. And then, like, you could look it up. It has some stuff in it. I don't know what's in it exactly, if it's natural or not. And then there's this other, they use green coffee bean extract as the caffeine source. It just feels better. Like, I don't really get that much of a crash. Like I said, as long as I'm eating snacks and hydrating, I don't really feel like any major kind of crash irritability type of issues with it. I stopped drinking it early. It's a thin can. It's not like the tall can C4 for like pre-workouts. It's a different formula. The ingredients are a little bit different, and I find it to be pretty effective. I have focus, I have energy, I'm sharp. But I don't really drink a whole can all at once. I don't know, like it's a lot of caffeine though, but it helps. Like it gets me through, and I feel like I'm functional all day with it. More so than just with like regular coffee or yerba mate, maybe. I don't really know though. I haven't had a bulletproof coffee in a while. We still have that instant coffee in our house. That's why we haven't had like decent coffee in a really long time. So I really need to get some better coffee if I'm gonna alternate. I think I drank my last one of those drinks, those C4 drinks. I ended up buying a 12-pack case off of Amazon. It ended up being like about $1 cheaper per can from buying it at CVS every day, because CVS charges you for a little bit for the can, and then they charge you, it ended up basically being $1 less, and that's with the extra $2.99 to ship it by 8 a.m. to have it delivered by 8 a.m. the next morning. So it's technically even more than $1 cheaper to just buy a 12-pack. Then I don't have to go there every single day and buy it for the next day. But yeah, that's mostly what my days have looked like. I'm trying to settle in to all this. So I noticed sometime since I started this job that Spotify for podcasters has changed. Now, they did email us about this. They did tell us. And I was aware that they said by a certain date you need to like have a login and all this kind of stuff. And, I hate all that kind of stuff, so I never really jump on it early. And the hard part is that I haven't been able to record easily because of my phone. Basically, before I would just record into my phone. You just log in to whichever account. So I would log into Gaming Compute and just go to my Anchor login, because I originally came into podcasting through Anchor, and then Spotify for Podcasters took over. And then I talked about the other changes that happened over, some other months. I think earlier last year and this year, there were already some other changes. So since about a year, there's been more changes now. So basically, you can't just log in by phone anymore and use your Anchor login and then just easily just start recording into the next to create your next episode, and just upload it or save it and upload and just have your episode that way. So having to take these extra steps makes it take longer for me. I had to basically take extra steps to now, get so I have 4 podcasts, 3 of 4 now with Gaming Compute added. It was only 2 at first, that I had changed over to a Spotify account, because you have to connect it to an actual Spotify account now. Spotify for podcasters is no longer logging in through Anchor. It's now Spotify. It's going through Spotify's login. So you have to have a Spotify account to log in. And that process was a disaster because I tried to create it on my phone, but I have a personal Spotify podcast that has all my music, all my, not, did I say podcast? I have a personal Spotify, app that I use for music mostly. Sometimes I listen to podcasts. There are like a few that I listen to. I think I listen to Pants podcast, Bad Queers podcast, Joe Rogan. There's this one podcast by Biaheza called Nonchalant Podcast, but I don't really see them posting all that often. They were posting, I think, weekly, and now I don't even know if it's monthly. I don't know what they're actually doing. I listen to some of Graham Stephan's different stuff sometimes, Iced Coffee Hour. Sometimes I'll watch Meet Kevin's Stock Market Open, in the mornings before work, just to stay a bit informed. But usually I watch that through YouTube, so mostly my Spotify account, my personal Spotify account, is my music and stuff like that, and sometimes I'll listen to podcasts at the gym or whatever, but mostly it's my music. And so I have my music and I listen to my music. I have my playlist. I've had playlists I've been adding to for years, so I have these really lengthy playlists, and this is my personal account. And so just trying to have that account and then logging into other accounts, just to use Spotify for podcasters, I don't know if I can do it that way. I have to use Spotify for podcasters, but then because I already have a personal Spotify account that has nothing to do with podcasting at all, it's just consuming. I consume on that account. That's my main account, and so it just created an issue. So now I have to have a Spotify account for every single podcast that I have. So I've created logins for the first two that I post on the most. I created logins for both of those, but it took me a while because I was trying to do it through my phone, and I think I set up two of them on one account. I really don't know what I did. I don't even understand, but all of this I was trying to figure out before work and trying to record episodes at the same time. So this has definitely cut into the past, like, maybe 2 weeks of being able to record. And I've been thinking about it, and I was like, man, I want to record on here, but I want to record on Gaming Compute. But it's like there were the other two podcasts that I already had topics that I was getting behind on. And I was trying to just log in and record. And then little by little, I had to get used to using this dang Riverside software. So what I was doing was recording on Riverside on those accounts and not posting them, and barely yesterday because they let us out of work early. Thankfully, I'm thankful for that. They let us out at 2 p.m. instead of 5 p.m. They talked about it earlier in the week a little bit at the birthday, whatever you call it, the Zoom birthday or whatever you want to call it. They talked about it there. But then we didn't really go. They talked about it on there, but we didn't really get any, solid, like I said, like, the supervisor and director are so busy with onboarding right now. Like, they're kind of just, like, in the background right now. They're not really, I'm not saying they're not working. It's just, even from when I started, I'm like barely hearing from these people, which is fine. I don't like to need to hear from bosses every day. That is not good, but some of the things are a little bit of a time waste, like the birthday parties that are like an hour online where they just say happy birthday to every single person. The funny part about it, though, is when they do the happy birthday song, because all the computers are lagging. It's like this really bad, like lagged happy birthday song that I almost want to record because it sounds so funny. Um, it's the thought that counts, but it just sounds like, sometimes I just like stuff like that. I'm like, it's kind of like I like watching bad comedy too, you know? I like watching Kill Tony, and I forgot to mention I watch Kill Tony. And then I watch the comedians that do poorly on there. It's kind of funny though, because it's like, well, they had to practice this and think it out, and like they get randomly picked to do a minute of comedy on that show, and then if they get picked, they go up and do the comedy, and then sometimes it's just really not funny. Sometimes it is, like, it's kind of maybe 50-50, because sometimes even the not funny people, when they do the interview after, they're kind of like interesting people, so it's kind of twofold. And the comedy, I mean, like a 1 minute bad comedy set is not that, it's not that bad to like sit there. It's not like it's like 30 minutes of like a terrible act. It's like 1 minute. So they either leave you wanting more, or they just leave you wanting them to stop. But it's only a minute, so it's not really that big a deal. But some people get famous off of there too, so it's a pretty cool idea. I mean, if you're into comedy and you're not offended by like profanity and racist jokes and all this kind of like taboo kind of jokes and stuff, you'd probably like it. If you're offended by that kind of stuff, I mean, it's not like a family-friendly show where you can watch it with like young children or anything necessarily, but it's funny. It's, you know, we need to laugh sometimes, you know. So I think it's uplifting and funny. That's how I would describe it. It's not necessarily clean comedy though, but it's funny. To me, it's funny, and I get a lot of joy out of watching it. But yeah. So we've got Spotify with this new process of logging in and stuff. Now, what are analytics looking like? That's something that I do not fully know. So maybe I can look into... I don't think I can do this actually. Let me see. I was gonna try this on the fly. I don't know if it's gonna let me log into my accounts. Why is this doing this? Alright. I want to see if this... I forgot how slow. The internet's so slow. Alright, let me try to see if I can look at my analytics for all of the pods and see if I've noticed any changes. I gotta slowly open each one. Actually, I don't have that other one open. Dang it. Now I gotta open the other one. Alright, let me open the other one. Just because it's gonna take a while to open them all so that I can actually look at them. I gotta restore pages on this one too. That's gonna take a second. So, and I gotta sign in. This is annoying. You guys. I'm so annoyed. I get so easily annoyed with stuff. I don't know how to log into this. I don't know my password. I'm so annoyed. Alright, whatever. I really don't know. Okay, is it gonna let me... Give me a couple seconds, guys. Let me see if it's gonna let me even, like, get in this. Well, okay. I'll table that one because it's gonna take me too long to log in, I think. So from what I've noticed, it looks like if I look at the last 90 days from this podcast, since I've been quite dormant, I had some extra plays. Well, that's from March, April. So since I had even last posted April 14th, the 15th I had a whole lot more plays than usual. And then from there, just a couple every couple days. somewhere near April 26th, I started getting a few more. And this is me not even posting. And then May, so it looks like there's been a jump from about May 11th or so. There's been a bit of a jump of just organic traffic that I don't know where it's coming from. The analytics on, so it looks like Spotify search, Spotify home. That's where it kind of says the traffic is coming from. But I don't really know. I haven't even posted on here, so it doesn't make full sense to me. Let me see. I'm comparing it with another one that I've posted on more often. So I've posted much more often on one that I actually pay traffic towards every so often. But yeah, the one that I just paid some traffic on, I just got like a whole lot more plays than what I normally get. So, and I'm, it's also through Spotify search, Spotify home. I don't really know the analytics on this. Oh no, this is one that I don't post on as much. So I don't know why it got so many plays all of a sudden. That doesn't really make sense. Whatever, I'll take it. Oh no, sorry. No, that's the one that I thought it should be. Okay, that's the one that has the paid traffic. I'm looking at the account that has the two accounts linked onto the one thing. If you guys are wondering why I don't know what I'm talking about. I was looking at analytics. I don't know how these two accounts are now linked together. Now I've got to wait for the analytics for the other one to load. And this one looks about the same. There's been a whole lot of traffic May 20th. So somewhere around May 15th something happened that I don't think was me. I think Spotify started pushing podcasts more around May 15th. Let me see where this traffic is from. Yeah, Spotify search, Spotify home again. So all of my podcasts, the 3 of the 4, are showing that Spotify is pushing things right now. At least they have since May 15th. And I'm saying that with, this one podcast that I'm recording on right now on Gaming Compute, where I have not really even posted. I even saw that little boost around May 15th, and I hadn't even really posted anything. On the 2 podcasts where I have posted things, it's probably about 10 times the amount of traffic from what I normally get. So I don't know what to say about that. So another thing. Let me see. Are analytics changing? That's kind of what I want to know. So that's kind of my answer, just my broad answer. Yeah, I think I want to cut this episode into 2 pieces and start this topic where the 33 minutes of where I kind of stop talking about the job stuff. I want to start this topic about Spotify for podcasters changing, and then because if there's organic traffic coming in all of a sudden, and like I said, I hadn't really posted since April 15th, and for some reason, or since April 14th, and since April 15th, I got a lot of traffic that day too. But since then, it was, pretty minimal, which is fine because I hadn't posted on here at all. I wasn't expecting to see really any traffic because I haven't been posting. So, something happened because it's showing on all three of my podcasts. I'm not gonna spend the time to log into the fourth one right now because I have to create like a whole account and stuff. But that's kind of been my setbacks with things, starting a new job and settling into that. And in addition to starting a new job, trying to learn this software and all the little changes and being able to record. And I just hadn't set up the account. I hadn't set up the login through Spotify for Gaming Compute because I was working on the other two. So I'm 2 weeks behind, even though I hadn't really posted for more than that. I wanted to post. For the last 2 weeks, I've been wanting to post. But I don't even know if I've recorded anything. If I have, I might have deleted it. I'll probably go back again and upload some stuff from my Untitled. I have all these... I don't know how this happens, but maybe because I'm not diligently paying attention. But I think sometimes I record something, save it, don't post it, and then it just saves on, in the library for Spotify for podcasters, and it just, sits there. And then I go back, and it's it shows all these untitled episodes of dates that I recorded and saved them. And then I click on it, and it actually has a title. And then I hadn't posted it or anything, so I don't really know. It's probably just unfinished business, and I just kind of forget about them. And so every so often, I'll go through and just start, posting all of those. I'll just post them up, So, something I'm not too sure about is the monetization process. Is it fruitful? What's going on with ads? I don't know if I'm gonna go through and put ads and stuff. I can't find my the little tune that I use for the intro. It was called West. But I can't find my little intro outro little melody there. So I don't know if I'm gonna be able to use it, or I'd probably have to go through and save it and load it to Audacity or something. Download a clip of it and then upload it every time. That sounds like a lot of extra little work there that I might not do. Because before, it was literally just click on it, move it to the beginning, move it to the end of the episode, and then, I could arrange the blocks of the pieces of the episodes. And depending at what point I'm talking about with using Spotify or Anchor or whatever this podcast platform has evolved into, because now it's crazy. It used to just be Anchor, and Anchor, they basically would send your podcast to, I think they still sent it, I think it was Spotify, and I think Anchor developed Spotify. If I could be wrong about that. Either they developed it or they bought it or something. But I don't think I was fully aware that Spotify was involved. I didn't see Spotify putting their branding on stuff until quite a bit after I'd been involved with podcasting. And I think I started in 2020. And so, guys, it's been we've been here a while, which is cool. Which is one thing that makes me want to keep going. But I do get dry spells. I have a lot of stuff changing in my life right now that I explained. I just scratched the surface of explaining it. There's a lot more going on, but not bad. Just I'm trying to adjust to not trying to quit doing this kind of stuff. I still want to keep my side hustles going. I basically went from a lifestyle of being able to be creative and, yes, I was applying to jobs and learning new stuff, but I was learning kind of in the tech realm of what I wanted to do. Just, I need a steady paycheck too. Uber Eats, I'm not even going to get into complaining about Uber Eats, but it was not working for me. unless I was doing it for a really long time, it was about $15 an hour when you consider the Prop 22 payout. But again, the car I'm driving is so bad on gas. I'm driving a Nissan Murano, and I think when it's new and in good condition, they get about 19 miles to the gallon. And so I calculated I was spending approximately it's about $5 per 20 miles, estimating with the price of gas. Arco gas is a little under $5 in my area of LA, and most other gas stations are a little over $5. So it's around $4.80, $4.70 something if you pay in cash versus with card. And then it goes to like $5 something, $5.30, probably at like Chevrons by the beach or by the freeways. And there's like, I don't know, there's a variety of gas stations in LA, so we have so many brands that there's a lot. Like, you can compare prices easily and just drive around, and depending where you're going to be, just get gas where it's most convenient for you. But yeah, it's still a little bit pricey, and so that was a big fee cutting into my profits there. Because the car does kind of guzzle. And so, but I mean, it was profitable. If I would have done it more, it would have been more profitable. But I did have some symptoms I was dealing with, like I said, that kind of made me need to be not on the road. I'll just put it that way. But that was then. But yeah, it was hard to kind of get out of doing that, because I was applying for jobs while I was doing that, and then, working on podcasts, working on blogs, working on, advertising skills, digital marketing skills, copywriting skills, sales skills, getting customers and stuff. And then kind of the reselling stuff too. And it sounds like it's a lot, but it really wasn't, because I wasn't doing all of it every day. It was just kind of like certain days I'd work on certain stuff. But it was a little, it wasn't like fully scheduled. Like the driving I would do certain times unless I was doing a lot online. But once I realized how much time I needed to spend online, I was like, I really can't be doing deliveries like this. Because it cuts into the day. Like, if you're going to make actual money that's like decent money, you have to be driving for multiple hours a day. And that, it takes energy, because you're not guaranteed how much you're going to make. Like, you can't predict how much money you're going to make. There were quite a few times I went out to drive and I'd wait around for even like an hour and didn't get any deliveries. And so, sometimes you just don't get deliveries. Even if you're kind of on time, the hotspot isn't guaranteed to work out. And when the time changed, I did have opportunity to go out later in the day, but it's like, if you wait around all day to do something you don't really want to do, we all know how that goes. Unless you really push yourself, it's not really going to happen. And it's kind of like the gym. It's like, if you wake up on a Saturday morning and you want to go exercise, you might as well just go, get some breakfast, and then once your breakfast is settled, go exercise. Because the longer you get into the day, it's going to be harder and harder to make that decision to get any exercise at all. So I don't know why I went into that whole thing, but basically, I was going to explain the advertising aspect and monetization aspect. I guess what I was trying to say with that long explanation about all the Uber Eats stuff is that there was a time that I was like, I don't really know if podcasting, depending which podcast I'm talking about, they weren't all profitable. There was a time where every one of them was making money, and then you can follow the timeline of the past episodes I've recorded about Spotify and Anchor and stuff. But there was a point where they all made money, and then there was a point where they took away that monetization, and then they made you have to earn it, and then they upped the bar and said, well, you have to have this many people to, you have to have this many views to monetize and to be able to host red ads. And then they upped it from there, saying now you have to have this many. So now they have, for monetization, they have subscriptions. You can offer a monthly subscription. I don't know of any monthly subscriptions on Spotify. I'm trying to think if there are any that I've seen. I don't know if I've even seen an offer for, I don't know. I think people like free podcasts. I can maybe see Patreon. I don't really know. Because I've seen people pay for Patreon. I've paid for Patreon. But I don't really see people paying for Spotify subscriptions. I don't know of any podcasts that I follow that people even say, hey, if you subscribe, you get this extra thing. I just haven't heard of it at all. I don't really think it's a popular thing. If it is, I've just never come across it. I've heard about people, plugging their Patreons, but never Spotify. Most of the podcasts there are some big ones like Joe Rogan's, and he posts so often, multiple times a week, really long form, multiple hours per episode. And his stuff is free. I don't know any that charge you for a subscription. And if I do, I've just never heard it advertised even. But again, I stay away from advertising. I have a certain VPN on my phone that mostly cuts out ads on Spotify. So I don't even pay for Spotify because I don't really hear the ads. And it cuts out ads on YouTube for the most part too. And so other than the promotional stuff that's already embedded in there, I don't hear any of the other ads hardly at all. 99% of the time I don't hear the ads. Sometimes lately the VPN has been kind of cutting off a little bit. It's happened maybe 2 or 3 times in the past month. And then I hear an ad, and then I'm like, oh, the VPN must need to be reset or something. And then I reset it, and I don't hear any more ads. So I'm not even paying for the subscription for YouTube Premium anymore. I just don't get ads. So that mostly solved the issue. I can't play YouTube with the screen off, with the home screen off. I have to keep it on. That's the only downside. But other than that, as long as I don't hear ads, I don't really care. But which brings me to the point of the ads in the monetization process with Spotify now. You can put ads in. But they're not host read ads. So that's something I need to figure out is, what is the ad? When you're putting in, well, that scared me. I opened up this other podcast that I know usually has a lot of listeners, and all of a sudden it said 0 for everything. It was 0 plays, 0 audience, 0 followers. What just happened? But it wasn't 0. It's just the numbers were loading because the Wi-Fi is so slow. So, man, that was weird. I was like, how do I not have anybody listening to this? They just were listening a day ago. So yeah. Okay. Sorry. That was weird. I'm trying to see an ad. Sorry. That's what I'm looking for right now. I'm looking for an ad. How long have I been recording? I think I'm almost done with this recording. I think I'll keep it as one, because I think that's going to be extra. I'll just put a timestamp around 33 minutes that's about where things get legit and kind of start. Okay, so I've got some, so I don't have ads in any of these. I'm going to try and throw some ads in some episodes and see what happens. Well, it says 0 ads. I need to hear what the ads say. So I'm gonna try to figure out a little more about these ads. I have kind of learned to use Riverside to the point that I can upload episodes now. It's just, I don't know, guys. I don't like things changing. I kind of liked the app as it was, where you could just record straight into the app. I do have one account set up like that. Maybe it's just me. I don't know how to set up all the accounts so I can just log in and start recording. Because it's hard to do it on the computer. It's like one extra thing that I have to have happening is now I have to have my laptop if I want a podcast. Because I know if I don't post it right away, you know, I'm probably not going to post it anytime soon if I don't just post it right away. So, I don't know. I don't even know where I'm recording. Okay, so I need to find Riverside where I'm recording here. And then I need to stop recording. Maybe that's where it is. Okay, so we're at an hour 6 minutes, hour 7 minutes. I think I'm gonna stop recording now. But yeah, guys, I don't really know fully what to say. This is a weird process for me. It's this isn't the most straightforward of situations here, but I think I figured out at least a little something. So I'll be back recording about anything I find changing with the podcasting platforms, and anything that I kind of just figure out on my own. I do want to talk about it more, especially when they have changes. I think it's just appropriate to mention it because nobody's really talking about the changes. Nobody's really talking about the changes. And so, yeah. I try to look for information. Again, Henry G was the main person who was recording a lot about his success. I know there are a lot of successful podcasters out there, but I'm trying to see what opportunities are there for monetization through Spotify for podcasters. Is YouTube a better platform? I don't even know if I can argue that. I've tried to post on YouTube and I didn't like it personally. I don't know. We'll get into that maybe. I don't know if it'll ever come up again, honestly. But I just didn't like the process. For me, it was a little like, I think you had to have like a video or some kind of like a background. You couldn't just upload audio. And so I was like trying to use Windows Movie Maker and like putting this like this like, I don't know. It was like a PowerPoint, like some kind of background. It wasn't moving or anything. It was just one slide over and over and over and over again just for the picture, and then putting audio over that and then having to like save everything and like download it, upload it. And it's like, it's too many steps. Like I just miss the phone where it's like I hit record, I save it, I upload it. Like I don't really want to do more than that. But it's turning into a whole production situation that I'm not trying to honestly deal with all that. I like the point and click methods. But we'll see. This might turn into something. I mean, it's already boosting traffic. I don't know if they're just doing that on its own, and I don't know. But I think a lot of companies are trying to make a lot of changes. Spotify and Anchor, I've seen all that evolve since 2020. A lot has changed. For the best, I don't know. It's hard to kind of change things, like drastically change things. Like every change has been pretty drastic, either financially drastic, traffic drastic, or now it's like user interface drastic even. So everything's been a little bit drastic of a change, but the only thing I've seen change on my end is the money. That's the only thing I've really seen change. And that's one thing about, you know, the online world that kind of, I don't find it troublesome. It doesn't worry me, not like that, but it just, it's something that I keep in my mind because I'm like, it makes me hesitant to really rely on it. Because I'm like, what if I would have gone all in on podcasting? Maybe it would have been sustainable. Maybe I would have been able to like manage a podcast and fully live off of it. I don't know. It would have taken a lot more editing, a lot more posting, a lot more researching, a lot less of this kind of like, ooh, like freestyle, like, ooh, like daydream, brainstorm kind of thing. That's kind of the way I record. It's like, yay, I'm driving around the city. What's up? It's like, I treat it almost like a one-way phone call. Like, I'm not really, that, I don't know. I just kind of do my own thing with it all. But, yeah, I'm still trying to figure out my way, trying to make my own way here. I don't want to quit podcasting. I don't want to quit posting. I don't want to give up my websites and stuff. Just everything right now is in a big transitional phase. I don't really know what's going on. I'm prioritizing making, stable money, saving, investing, quick. I'm trying to do all this quick, but I am realizing what I'm missing by giving up so many hours out of my day to be working 42 and a half hours a week, without really any days off. That's going to be over a 6-month period of time. I get 3 days off. That's not how I'm used to really getting days off. Usually we would accrue maybe 1 day off per month or something. And this is like 1 day off per like 3 months pretty much. So, that's not a good PTO rate. And I'm already kind of like, I'm not really like I could push more, and like arrange my energy and workflow. There is still space for that. So I'm not going to say I'm like at my push to my limit yet, but I don't want a job where I'm pushed to my limit to the point where I can't have energy to cook or go to the gym. It's already cutting into my 40 hours of work, working 42 and a half hours. And then, like I mentioned, all the deductions that I'm getting just living in California in general. I do want to move. I do want to move. I don't want to move out of Southern California. I'm likely going to end up in like Nevada, in one of the areas near Vegas area. I'm not really into gambling. I like casinos kind of, but I'm not really into gambling. I like, casinos, bars, watching people play bingo, watching people play different tables. I like watching sports betting or like the sports on the TVs and stuff. And like, I kind of like the atmosphere of casinos. I like the food, the hotels and stuff like that. I like aspects of it, but the gambling itself, it's like, I think the most I've ever played and lost was like $20, and it basically ruined my morning. In my head, somewhere there's the number 50, but I don't really remember ever losing $50. I don't think I ever did that. I mean, I've lost money before, like just lost it, like misplaced it or it fell out or something, but I don't really gamble. It's not really for me. But shout out to the people who win. But anyways, I've been done with this recording for a while. I'm gonna stop and see how long it takes to upload this thing, man. Like, first episode in a month and a half. Just about a month and a half. But this will be my update. You guys can see what I've been up to. Didn't mean to disappear, but it just happened that way. But I didn't forget. Alright, guys. So, let's post. Let's do this.